everyone.
Hi.
Welcome back to Glad We Talked podcast. I'm Tori,
And I'm Chanel.
and we are so happy with everyone's love and support with us coming back.
I know it's been so great. And I was like nervous. And then
I know
was
you were
fine.
nervous. You totally picked right back up. It's kind of the nerves before you do anything, and you're like, do I remember? It's almost like, when you go and do a summer activity at the beginning of summer again, like,
I don't do summer.
okay. I don't ski, so I was gonna say like skiing, and I'm
Yeah,
like, I don't do
either.
that. But it's kind of like, when you're like, you haven't done something in a long
while,
time,
yeah.
and you're like, am I gonna be good at this? And then you do it, and you're just like, oh yeah, it's like riding a bike.
Totally.
I guess that's the best analogy.
I know. I mean,
You're like, I'm riding a bike.
it's like riding a bike. Your hair looks really good today.
Why? Thank you.
Tell me
Second
what you
compliment. I washed it.
Okay.
So, my hair is straight right now. I blew it out. I ran out of my shampoo, so that was a fun activity. But I used Olaplex mask. I think it's like the number 1. Can't remember. It's the mask you do before you shampoo. So I did that for 10 minutes. Then I went in the shower. I used Olaplex purple shampoo because I ran out of the normal shampoo. I think it's number 4. And then then I put the conditioner in, the Olaplex conditioner.
I just meant like, did you blow it out with a blow dryer? Or...
Oh, I'm like, let me tell you about my routine. Because I'm serious. Hair day is a big day for me.
Oh, is it?
And doing this takes a while. Like it's a whole process.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Because I have curly hair. So when I blow it out, it's like I have to have the energy. I have to have the purpose. Like I can't just do this on a Tuesday.
You're talking to me like I don't understand. I get it, girl.
You know, hair. Like we were both like we have a situationship with our hair.
Yeah, but I just meant like your ends are really like fluffy and stuff. So like, did you use a blow dry brush and a blow dryer?
I understand your question now. Okay,
Yeah.
so I put this. Yes. Short answer. I used the Revlon blowout brush.
Oh, okay.
Which I love. I think I've talked about it before on the podcast.
Yes.
But I bought this Living Proof blowout serum.
Oh, okay.
That I added, and I feel like it really locked in the hydration and added some like enrichment back into my hair.
It's very like voluminous and flippy. Like it looks like you went to the salon and got like a blowout.
Thank you. Someone else said that, and I did it myself. But
really good.
I had imposter syndrome as I'm doing it myself. I'm like, this looks awful.
No, it looks really nice. And I think it's also, as I was saying this, I was reminded by another Tory quote you said once.
I think I know what it is.
It's okay. So number one, you never really do your hair straight. So
Right.
I think it's like, oh my gosh, wow, your hair's straight. Like you look so good. One time we went out together and everyone was complimenting like how nice you look. And I was like, no one said anything to me. And you were like, Chanel, it's because I never try. She's like, always do 10%. And then when you do 90%, people notice.
Yeah. No, it's true. It's so true.
I was like, I always go 90.
You do.
So
you always go all out.
No
so
one cares when I dress up.
yeah. And when you dress down, they're like, oh, what's she going through?
They're like, well, is she okay?
Yeah. Wellness check on Chanel.
legitimately.
For me, they're like, wow, did you see Tori? She's doing great. Look at her hair. Like,
Literally.
did she put makeup on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just remember that quote as I was like telling you, like, oh, I never see your hair straight.
I know. I saw the wheels connect, and you genuinely, I knew exactly what you were thinking.
You said you know that was what I was going to say.
Yeah. And I stand by it. I think it's like, yeah, don't give 100% all the time
Yeah.
to your parents. People disagree.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, I usually get by and I do my hair curly when I need to. But then when I do that extra like blowout or a heavier foundation, whatever it is, or even just like wear a different pair of shoes that aren't sneakers, I feel like elevated and
Yeah.
yeah.
And people notice.
Yeah. Your hair looks great too.
Thank you.
You curled it.
Yeah, I did a little wave.
Yeah.
I like to do a little something always. I don't like it when it's like pinned straight all the time.
Yeah.
Anyway, you look great.
Thank you. You do too. I like that we're in matching outfits.
Yeah, this was not planned.
It's Chanel and I are both wearing black.
Yeah.
She has a nice sweater and leggings. I have a sweatshirt.
I actually got yoga pants.
Oh,
so they're the
you
ones
do.
with the flare bottom. I ordered
Right.
them on Amazon because I've been doing leggings and I was like, I kind of want to switch it up a little bit.
When I walked in, I was like, oh, so Gen Z. of
Yeah. That was my goal.
The flare leggings. They kind of remind me of yoga pants back in like 2012.
This is what no, like literally this is what we used to wear.
Right.
Yeah, with the little flare bottom.
But
And now they're coming back.
But you bought a new pair.
Yes,
These aren't like vintage.
these aren't like Victoria's Secret pink.
Yeah.
With the
With the
band.
color, yes, exactly. And on the back it said pink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These aren't those.
I still have a pair of those.
Do you?
Yes.
I think I got rid of all of mine. How do you still have them?
I have.
They've survived all these years.
If you ask my mom, it's because I'm a pack rat and I just hold on to everything. So that's how.
Like a hoarder? What's a pack rat? Like a hoarder.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I have a hard time letting go.
I understand that. I do too.
Yeah.
I'm just, I hide my mess. I'm like Monica. Don't go in the other closet.
Yeah. No, mine's all over the place. Anyways, we have some outstanding items from last week.
Yes.
And one thing we talked about was that I'm doing dry January. And you said that you texted me and are like, I might need a drink after this week.
Yeah.
And then I responded by saying, well, you're welcome to it or something. I did respond. I said I didn't. I did. And what I ended up saying was, you're like, I might need a drink, LOL. And I said, haha, Mitch might, wait, you said, will Mitch be there on Friday? I might need a drink, LOL. So I thought you meant you wanted a drink with Mitch too.
Oh.
So I was like,
it was
all
two
right.
separate thoughts.
Yeah. Yeah. And they were two different texts,
funny.
but I kind of was like, all right, so you and Mitch are going to have a drink. Fine.
Well,
like,
he does like to drink, so I know like,
yeah, he's a feel good drinking
Yeah.
buddy. And I was like, haha, he might be, I don't know, but you're welcome to. So I did say that, and I didn't really acknowledge that I was doing dry January. So
yeah. Thank you.
you're welcome.
I like being right.
Yeah, you were. And I just wanted to circle back on the 9091. Like,
Yeah.
are we going to do it together or no?
Oh yeah, we haven't done that.
Are we going to? Because you said you didn't want to wake up in the morning.
I still don't.
Okay, so that's just so our
How
friends.
about we do 9091 not in the morning, even though it's supposed to be?
Maybe.
Okay. She's not into that. Are you going to do 9091 by yourself?
Maybe. I haven't decided.
Okay.
All right, moving on.
So it's still an outstanding item.
Yeah, not a great one. And then you added one thing here.
What did I add?
You added every dollar app for finances.
Oh yeah, so Chrissy, you guys know Chrissy. I've mentioned her multiple times. My bestie, she reached out to me about a app called Every Dollar, because I said I wanted to like focus on my finances this year, and she
Down
said
to
it's a
every
really,
dollar.
it's a really good budgeting app.
Okay.
So I did download it. I haven't started it yet. But if anyone else is out there looking for finance goals and trying to budget, Every Dollar apparently is a good app.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Okay, outstanding items done. I did have some new items.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Look at you with an agenda.
I
Look at
feel
you
like
sticking to the agenda.
I know a lot of things came up and I was excited to talk about them now
is
that we're
she?
back.
Yeah.
Day list on Spotify.
Yeah, this is like a new thing I've been seeing everyone post.
Yeah. So on Spotify, you guys know that we love the DJ when he can just make some.
He was fine. I didn't love him.
Okay. I do it on car rides.
Okay.
I do my DJ. But Spotify day list comes up with like a recommended list of things for you to listen to. When you go into the search engine, you just do day list, you type it in, and it comes up with a playlist of what you kind of listen to in this time of day, like what you're in the mood for. So it's a little bit different than DJ
Oh, okay.
because he's not like mixing it for you. They make a playlist and there's some old songs, some new songs, and it just personalizes your day.
That's really cute. I didn't know where it came from, why it existed. So if I look tonight at like 7, it would be different?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So this morning, on my drive over, it was very country, folky, kind of season of the Sticks.
Okay.
And because that's what I usually listen to, I guess, on Sunday mornings.
Is that still what it is?
No, now it's changed because this is when Mitch usually listens.
Oh, what does Mitch listen to?
So he listens to Ank Ska Punk
Oh,
for
okay.
Sunday afternoon. So it's a little bit more aggressive. There's some Blink 182 on it, but then there's also some like heavier things that I'm not, because we share our Spotify on our Alexa at home.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. So it's like whatever he plays is now connected to your thing,
Yeah.
your day list.
What's
Mine
yours?
is energetic, feel good afternoon right now. And
Okay.
it's mainly like dance pop, which tracks.
Adds
It's
up.
a lot of like Kygo,
That tracks.
Jubel.
Yeah.
Is that how you say it? Becky Hill. You know, my faves.
I know. And when is yours not dance pop?
I know, seriously.
You know?
It said next update at 6:12. It'll be like some other rendition of
Oh, that's when they do the updates?
It said it on the top. It said next update.
Oh, you're right. Next update 6:56.
Cool.
How fun.
I know. I'm gonna look later.
Okay. Letting me know what it is.
I love Spotify.
Me too.
Just
I don't know. This is debatable, but I'm a Spotify gal.
why is it? Because Apple Music.
Apple Music.
I think even the Apple Music people want Spotify.
Really?
Yeah.
Then why don't they just switch?
Well, I think a lot of people. It depends. I've asked people like why they use Apple Music, and it's like, oh, I get it for free, or oh, like I already had a subscription, all my music's here. Like it's different reasons, but
Yeah, I forgot about my iTunes library. Like
Yeah.
it's dead and gone.
it's still there. But who is she?
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Next thing on the new things, kind of. It's like a topic that I know you're going to love.
What?
Airplanes.
There was another airplane on fire.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know. And Mitch is supposed to go away next week, and he was on a Boeing, and they canceled his flight.
Shut up.
Yeah. They're canceling flights. They're doing all the things. Like, their Boeings are, like, grounded. They're,
Oh my god.
yeah, like, it's, yeah.
It's not good. I
No.
told you I watched the Boeing documentary, and it's they overlook so many things. Like it's
Scary.
really bad.
Yeah. So just a heads up to any travelers out there, you know, Boeing's not going through some good times right now, and your flights might be changed, delayed. Look for new ones. I don't know.
Yeah, I really went on a rant last week about airplanes.
You did.
I went off.
Just wanted to continue on that.
I love it.
Yeah.
So
We're going to talk about a little bit of a, not crazy, but something that happens in the workplace that we all don't really like to think about or we don't want to experience, which is getting let go from your job.
yes,
And Chanel, you have a very personal experience with this.
I do. I feel like you're like interviewing me. I do. Thank you, Tori.
Well, because this is your story.
No, I know. It was just like funny. You're like Chanel, take it away.
Yeah. I'm like Oprah,
That's how it felt a little bit.
like presenting, you know,
And
how
she's
like,
here today.
talks right to the camera.
Yeah.
And today's guest has a very personal story.
She's here today.
And she's here
Chanel.
today.
Thank
Hi,
you for
Chanel.
joining us.
How are you doing?
You know, I'm a lot better than I was 2 years ago.
How long has it been?
It's been almost 2 years.
Okay.
Or maybe, yeah, almost 2 years. It was in 2022. And I got let go from a job that I was at for like 9 months.
Okay.
And I think I've spoken about this job a little bit, but when I was there, I kind of had like imposter syndrome and like I was a little bit lost, and it was very different from what I had done for the past like 6 years of my career. So it was like a lot to
shift.
learn. Yeah, it was a shift and it was a lot to learn. So I wasn't like the happiest there anyway. And I was thinking about like if I should stay, if I should look, if I should stick it out, whatever. And I got the decision made for me. So
Were you expecting this?
no. I mean, okay, so we had gotten acquired. The brand that I was at got acquired and became its own company with like 2 other brands.
Right.
So I kind of knew it was going to happen. Like 2 months in, we got the announcement. When I was interviewing it, there were rumors about it. But when I asked HR about it, they kind of were like, oh, no, everything's fine.
Really?
Well, they're not allowed to talk about it, of course.
Interesting. So you had heard rumors that they were going to do layoffs while you were
No, not
there?
layoffs. That it was going to be acquired.
Oh, so okay. I'm just following. Recap really quick.
Yeah.
You were interviewing. You heard rumors that these 2 brands were going to be merged and acquired,
Yes.
and then they didn't really address it because you can't before it's public.
Right.
And got it.
Yeah. So then I started 2 months in. We heard the news that it was going to be acquired. And then a few months later, it actually went through. So our office changed. Well, we were like remote for the most part, but our headquarters changed. And, you know, we had to go in and like meet everyone. And it was like this whole thing. And they made it sound like it was going to be like great. Like they're so excited to have everybody. Like it didn't sound like layoffs were going to happen.
Right.
So like I wasn't really expecting it. And then in March, I got like a 15-minute meeting put on my calendar in the morning one day. And
With your manager or with HR?
it was with the CEO and HR.
Shit.
Yeah.
Oh
So
my
I
God.
knew. So I knew at that point. And I saw it and I was like, okay, I'm going to get let go. Like I just instantly knew, of course.
And what were your feelings when you saw this invite on your calendar?
Okay. So my first thought was I was the only one.
Okay.
So when I saw it, I was immediately like upset and like I went immediately to being like, I'm so embarrassed this is going to happen to me. I don't imagine anyone else is getting let go.
So did you think, because you said you experienced some imposter syndrome and
Yeah.
the job, I remember talking to you and you weren't thrilled at this job. Like you
Yeah.
weren't loving the team, you weren't loving the work you were doing. It was just not a great fit for you, right? Can I say that?
Yeah.
Okay. So it wasn't a great fit. So did you think it was more that this was a decision by your manager and not the company? Or did you think it was more of a decision by the company?
I thought it was more a decision about the company, but because I'm in events, I was like, oh, maybe they don't need me anymore because
see.
it's like an event role. And I was really only working on like one or two things. And I was like, maybe they're just eliminating my position. And I didn't really have a lot of friends, so I didn't know who to reach out to. So I kind of was just in my feels for a bit. And then someone reached out to me and was like, hey, do you have a call on your calendar for 15 minutes? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, okay, a few of us do. Like, I think, something's happening or whatever.
So did you feel a little bit relieved?
A little bit, yeah. I was still like, this is going to suck. But
you felt
I felt
that
like
feeling of
I wasn't alone.
Yeah. It wasn't like, okay, it took that pressure off of like, it's me.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a group of us. They're always business decisions, but it wasn't as personal as like, okay, just Chanel's getting let go.
Exactly. And that might be a narcissistic view to be like, it's just me and like this whole company. But
I don't think so.
I just had so much imposter syndrome that I think like that's where my mind went immediately. But I think still like there was this like level of embarrassment of getting let go. And I don't know what it is. And I don't know if it's because like we put our whole, like almost our whole self-worth into our career.
Right.
Like this is something we do.
It's an identity. It's one of the masks
Monday through
we
Friday.
wear.
Right. So I think I was just like, what the heck am I going to do? Like this has never happened
What
to
am
me
I going to do with
before.
my time?
At our old company, all we've been told was we're stars, we're amazing.
My mom says this all the time, that our old company was like fairy tale land, and it was.
It was a little bit.
But this fairy tale land also had layoffs, so we can talk a little bit about that when we go on. But
Yes,
yeah, so like
true.
This is corporate America.
Exactly. This happens in the real world.
Yep.
It finally happened to me. So I don't know. It happened. I listened to what they had to say. I got a severance package. It was like, I was only there 9 months, so I didn't really know what to expect, but I ended up getting 5 weeks of pay.
Okay.
And then I got my bonus still, which was great.
And severance usually depends on how long you've worked at a company. So the more time, the more severance you usually get.
It's usually like 2 weeks per year. And I was only there 9 months. So it was a decent package for, the amount of time I was there.
And a few people I've talked to, I know a few people that have gotten let go. They've actually negotiated their severance package.
Okay, so I actually want to talk about this.
Oh, great.
Yeah, because...
not great, but like great. Great for the episode.
I'm glad you mentioned that because when I got let go, I like called everyone and like was telling them what happened. Obviously close people. So I called my brother and everyone had such different reactions. It was actually very funny to me.
We've brushed on this a few times because you called me.
Yeah.
And
So I called you and you were like, great, now you have more time for the podcast. Because it was like when we were starting kind of. You were like, well, you weren't like great, but you were like, oh no, I'm so sorry. You were like, okay, well, you'll have some extra time, so maybe you can work on the podcast.
Yeah, like I totally blew over it because I knew you'd get another job.
Yeah.
I like you're a great employee.
Concerned.
No, I wasn't concerned. I was like, this is a great opportunity for us.
And you knew I wasn't happy, so it was like,
hey,
it was fine.
without that, I don't think we would have started the podcast. Maybe who knows?
Who knows? And then I called my brother, and he's very logistical. He's like, okay, you're going to update your resume. You're going to go on LinkedIn. Let me know if you see anyone. Just reach out to me. Like,
what a sweet brother.
Yeah, he's just very
problem solver.
He's a problem
like,
solver.
Okay, next step.
Totally.
We're gonna get through it. This is what you gotta do.
Called my mom. Obviously, she's the one that
Mom was like emotional. She's like, oh my
She's like, you're fabulous. Don't worry about it.
You're so beautiful, Chanel.
Like, that's how they do that.
You're so pretty. Someone's gonna hire you. You're like, thanks, Mom.
Yeah.
Your brother's like, resume, LinkedIn. Your mom's like, you're beautiful.
You're a star.
You're a star. You glow.
And then I called my friend Julia, who's in HR, which obviously
So
she's
smart.
been on the podcast before. She's one of my best friends. So it was like a twofold thing.
And if you haven't listened to that episode, or you are looking for some tips on your job, maybe you're looking for new opportunities, go back to that episode with Julia.
Fun fact, it was our most listened to episode.
I know.
So
It's a great one.
Julia, by the way. So I called her because obviously she's my bestie, but also from an HR perspective, I wanted to kind of know like what to do next.
Yeah.
So she was like, okay, you're going to negotiate. And I was like, what? I was like, I had no idea you can negotiate a severance package.
can.
So she was like, one of the things people negotiate too is health insurance. Like if you need health insurance, like saying that you need it like longer than they gave it to you, or your pay, or maybe you get more in your bonus. Whatever it is, she said it is negotiable. I did go back to them and they said the package is the package.
Yeah.
But it is possible. Like people have negotiated and come out successful. So yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that.
Yeah, you don't know unless you ask.
Yeah.
And we're just trying to spread the knowledge.
Yeah, exactly. I guess everything is negotiable, really. Like any package that you get from a job, you can always go back and negotiate, which feels weird because you want to just feel grateful.
Yeah, but they also need you.
They do.
You know, and if you're getting, I mean, whether you're getting, I guess when you're getting offered a job, it's like, okay, negotiate like vacation days,
Right.
salary, whatever you can. I've negotiated and I've gotten more money. I haven't negotiated vacation days, but I have like gotten a bump or a bonus. But yeah, I mean, I haven't personally been in the situation of negotiating severance, but I did hear this from other people.
Yeah.
So it's a good tip to know if you ever are in this situation.
Yes, it is a good tip.
I highly doubt the companies are telling you, aren't you going to negotiate? Like they're going to expect you to just be like, well, I guess this is it. Shake hands and leave.
Right. And I don't think you had necessarily have to do it on the call because I know during the call
you
it was
have time.
Yeah, it was like a shocking thing. You're just like, okay, thanks, and then you get off. I did email them later and then negotiated that way, and you don't have to do it on the spot because
Right.
a lot's happening and your mind is every which way.
How many days did they give you, this company specifically? Like was your last day of the day they laid you off, or what?
Minutes after.
Minutes.
Yeah, like you're done. Like,
Okay. So you get off this call.
yeah.
And like, what's your next like thought, plan of action? You called people.
Yeah, so I get off, I call people. I'm just like laying on the couch. I'm just like, what? I mean, it was remote. So,
Yeah.
I was just already home, which is, I think, a little bit helpful to already be home.
That's nice.
Like, I can't imagine, when layoffs happen in the office,
Do you remember?
you have to like pack up your stuff.
We've been there.
I know.
We haven't been laid off, but our previous company where Chanel and I met, there were layoffs and they would, close a few different departments. And it was like, oh, you would hear it maybe a day before or a week. Some people, it was kind of like a rolling in effect where some people knew sooner, some people knew later. But the day of, it was kind of like people would get out of the meetings and just walk by your desk and they would start cleaning up.
Yeah.
Or they would stay and they would like vent to people or cry. It was very emotional.
It was very emotional because it all happened there. Like,
Yeah.
it was like everyone would come into the office. They would go into a meeting room.
It was very public.
Very public. Hear that everyone in that room is getting let go, like at once.
Yeah.
And then come out and then they'd have to pack up their stuff. This was like a very personal moment for me. I was home. I was on Zoom. It was 3 people in the room. I got off and I was already home. I was able to like feel my emotions, cry without being like in front of others,
Yeah.
whatever the case is. And even though I didn't like the job, it was still really hard.
Yeah.
I was emotional. I felt kind of rejected.
Because this is, I mean, as an adult, so much of who you are, and whether it's right or wrong, is put into who you are in the workplace and what value you bring to a company in the workplace and what title you are. It's so much about who you are in this structure that doesn't necessarily mean anything in your personal life, but it is who you are 5 out of the 7 days a week, pretty much. I understand with you, like how that makes you feel, because then you're left with what's next? Where do I go from here?
Yeah. So I kind of just like took the time I guess I needed that day and I didn't really do much. I was just kind of like on and off calling people, talking to people. And it's like kind of annoying to have to reach out to everybody, but it's
Right.
also like good people know that you're in the market as well. So
You're gonna have to network.
yeah. So that was like step 1 is like be sad.
Yeah.
Grieve, take the day. Like you don't have to do anything that day. Like you don't have to like start looking for jobs like that day.
I'm sure people do.
I know, but I think it's also important to like feel your feels, process mentally, be like more stable, and then kind of go into it with a fresh mind. So after that, I think my days just looked so different. Like I didn't have any like meetings. It was kind of like a burden lifted off my shoulders after I like calmed down a bit. I was like, this is kind of nice. I was like a little bit panicked, but I also wasn't. And I think the most panicked I was is insurance.
Right.
because I'm like a sick girl.
That is scary. I mean,
Yeah.
insurance is so much of one of the like the benefits we get from working.
Yeah. And because I had like 5 weeks of pay, I was like, oh, maybe I'll find something by then. Like I wasn't like, that wasn't my top of mind yet.
Yeah.
And I knew I had my bonus. So I felt like
Yeah.
I felt a little secure. That might not be the case for everybody though.
Right.
So I think honestly, like for me, what helped was number one, like enjoying a little bit of the time off. Like when else are you going to have this time
Right.
where you literally don't have to work? Like that's a very crazy thought. Like
And get
paid
Yeah.
for a certain amount of time.
And
So
just while we're talking about that point, getting fired and getting let go are two different things.
yeah,
Getting fired, you typically don't get severance with.
right.
It's either performance based, action based, something happened, you're fired, you're fired.
Yeah.
Getting let go is a company decision. It's usually based on planning, restructuring, saving costs, whatever. So
Position elimination or something.
position elimination. And it's a strategic approach to how the company is going to continue to move forward.
That's a good point. And that's why you get severance, because it wasn't you, it was them.
Right. It was them.
Yeah.
Either they overhired, they just needed a change. My company has gone through a few different layoffs, rounds of layoffs due to the impacts of COVID. And it's also very interesting to see how people that haven't gone and experienced a layoff in a company react, because I had gone from the company we used to work at where there were multiple rounds in our tenure there. And at my new company, there hadn't been like layoffs in a very long time. So people were kind of very shocked.
Yeah.
And it's not that I was acting cold towards it. It was kind of just like, this happens.
Well, I think when we were even starting our career, we went through so many. There was like 3 layoffs a year probably. So I think the first one I remember being like shocked. And then as time went on, it was kind of like, oh, I guess this is kind of normal. And I thought that was normal until I was like, oh, maybe it's just where we were. We were in publishing.
Dying industries.
And print was dying as we were starting our career.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I can imagine for them, like seeing it for one of the first times is a very weird feeling.
Yeah. But I did see that because I had that previous experience, I was able to talk to people and explain, to younger people that might not have understood.
Yeah.
You know?
So when you have experienced people getting let go, like now, do you reach out to them if it happens to someone you know? Like, how do you, because I felt like I didn't know if I should reach out to people as the one being let go or if I should have people reach out to me. Like, I didn't know how that worked,
Yeah.
Because how really would they know? We kind of did a group text and everyone on my team was let go. So it was kind of like, oh yeah, like good luck, blah, blah, blah. It was great working with you. But as someone who's still at the company, knowing you had friends leave, I did have a couple of people who stayed and they were like, Chanel, it was great working with you. I'm so sorry this happened. If you need anything, a recommendation. And I thought that was really nice.
That's nice. So you appreciated the texts and
did.
the emails and people checking in on you.
I did, yeah. It's to a certain point. It was people that I worked with every day.
Right.
I didn't need like random people reaching out to me that I saw once in a meeting.
Right. I think you kind of know those lines, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did they reach out to you the same day or a few days after?
Mainly the same day, like later that afternoon.
It's all fresh.
Yeah. And then a few the next day, and that was pretty much it.
Yeah. So, okay. We had gone back. You had said, take the day to process, go through the feels. You started to think about what was next.
Yeah. And then I just started I think what's important is for me, like looking for a job every single day. To me, that felt productive and it felt like I was like working toward
A goal.
And like, I was like, I feel the most accomplished when I know I applied to 10 jobs today, let's say, or
Yeah.
reached out to 5 new people.
So you were proactive. Like you knew you had 5 weeks.
Yes.
And you're like, okay, I have 5 weeks. I can take X amount of days to process, whatever. But I need a new job, ideally
Within 5 weeks.
Within 5 weeks.
Correct.
And one thing I did also want to mention was we tapped in on health insurance, but you can, when you're let go, after that 5-week period or whatever period your company agrees on, you could apply for COBRA
It is
and get COBRA, but it's
so
very
expensive.
Yes.
So I really didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
If you absolutely need it, yes, but it is diabolical how expensive it is.
Yeah.
It should not be legal.
I know between when I switched jobs, it was like I took 2 weeks off and they gave me the Cobra plan and it's expensive. I didn't do it. I'm like, I just won't take any risks in the next 2 weeks.
I'm just going to go to work
I'm just
and
going
come
to
back.
wrap myself in bubble wrap and then like,
Yeah, it's insane.
know. Yeah. But okay, so you needed it because you knew at the end of the 5 weeks, health insurance payment, you need a new plan.
Yes.
So you're applying to jobs in this time.
Yeah, so I took a day or two and then I honestly like I woke up, I made coffee, I went to the gym.
Sounds nice.
I know. That's what I'm saying. It was kind of nice. I went to the gym, I came back, and then I would sit at my computer like a normal work day from like 10 until like 4 or 5.
Did you
and just apply and reach out and all that stuff because I felt like I had to like really commit a lot of my time to it or else I would have felt like a little bit of guilt that I wasn't doing everything possible to find a new job.
So you felt motivated.
Yes.
So first was kind of the shock.
Yeah.
Then it was like, I'm sure you're like, what do I do now? And then I'm like, oh, now I go and I take this, add this new time I have and find the next thing. So you were optimistic. You weren't like, I'm sure there was a little bit of fear in it because you're like, what is you don't know, you're not guaranteed.
Yes.
But you had a genuine feeling that you would find something.
Yeah, I really did. I wasn't like, oh my God, I'm never going to find anything. Martin tells me, like me looking back, I felt like I was like so calm, cool.
You were.
Collected.
I'm going to say,
okay.
When I talked to you, I felt like you were I thought you would be more worried than you were.
Yeah. And Martin tells me that I was more worried than I think I was.
Well, he was living with you.
Yeah, he was living with me. So but I wasn't like waking up stressed, sitting at my computer, not doing anything else. I
feel like that's what I would be.
Yeah, like I wasn't like
neurotic.
going to dinners and stuff because I didn't, I was like I shouldn't be spending any what's the word? Not frivolous.
Yeah, you weren't like spending frivolous money.
What's the word when like any money that like I didn't have basically. I was like I need to like really hone in on my spending right now.
Smart.
But I was still trying to do things that I enjoyed. So like going to the gym, doing my classes, going for walks, whatever is going to help like your mental health. If it's meditating or like doing workout videos at home, like literally whatever it is, you still have to do some things that are going to keep you sane. Because if you're just applying, and then like, let's say you're not seeing any results or you're not getting any interviews, you're going to go insane.
Yeah.
You are.
And I'm sure there are people that haven't been as successful in getting the next job. It is a difficult job market. And
very.
I think we're seeing that a lot with COVID. We're still seeing shifts in the workplace, restructurings and layoffs. And, it is difficult. I see on LinkedIn people posting all the time like, hey, my job was eliminated, if you know of anything. So where were you mostly looking for jobs and how were you networking during this time?
My main source of research for jobs was LinkedIn.
Okay.
And reaching out to people on LinkedIn. And I texted a few people that I used to work with that are in the industry and just said, if you see anything or if you know anyone hiring, please let me know. I had a lot of calls with friends who worked at companies I wanted to work at, and then they were able to reach out to their HR.
Great.
That was how I got a lot of interviews. Was
That's
like
good.
like I remember interviewing at like Citibank for an event role and another like law firm because I reached out to 2 people that I knew and they reached out to their HR people.
That's great.
Yeah. So I think like using your network, even if it doesn't sound like a traditional company that's in your industry, like I've worked at like beauty and magazines.
Right.
This was Citibank, but it was still events. I was like, maybe I'll try something new. Who knows?
And it's practice. So you had that time where you were like, okay, and who you don't know unless you do the interview, you talk to someone. And I think that's good advice is that, if the job role aligns with what you're looking for, go for it.
Yeah. Don't like put yourself in this like little box. Like I have to stay within the beauty industry. If you're willing to like branch out, you should. Now's the time.
Yeah. You do have to, you don't want to end up somewhere like completely different, but I think if you are looking to secure a job, it being more open to new opportunities.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I think another thing I learned was I interviewed at this place and the pay was like $15K lower than what I was making at the company I got let go from.
Right.
And I took the interview because I was like, it'll be good practice. It was my first interview since, I got the original job. So I was like, this will be good practice for me. And she told me the role and it sounded like a great role. But for me, I was like, this is not the money I'm looking for. Do not take the first job. that
Right.
you have an interview for just because you think you're not going to find something else. Like you have to make sure that you're not like in desperation mode and you're just like, okay, this is the only interview I've gotten in like a week and
I feel like I would
no, you
take
can't
the job.
You can't do that. You
I
really
mean, I'm not in this situation, but I'm like thinking if I were in
Yeah.
your shoes, I would be the type of person that was like, okay, great.
Yeah.
But I think it would also depend on what I was
It
looking
depends.
at. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so I took the interview just for the practice, but I knew I wasn't going to end up taking it. And I interviewed at a couple companies. Some were really good money, and I was like really excited for it. And then I didn't end up getting the job. And then some were like lower, and I just took it for practice.
Was it like a wave of emotions? Like I could see this being a roller coaster when you're like, oh, this is really going well, and you're like, oh, the money would be great, and then they're like, sorry, da, da, da. And
You already start calculating all the things you're going to buy with your new paycheck, and you're like, oh, can't wait to make this money. And then it's like, oh, I didn't get it. Okay, cool. No, yeah, no worries.
yeah,
You're not going to want to go into another job and be unhappy and
Right.
making less money. And then in 3 months, you're going to be like, what was I thinking? And then maybe you're in the same position as you were because you're going to want to quit or whatever the case is. Like, you don't
Yeah.
want to get yourself off into like a worse position. Just want to make sure that you're finding something that aligns with your values and the money's good. And I know it feels like you can't be picky, but like you
can.
still should make sure you're looking for what you want.
okay.
Don't compromise on that. You know,
I'm
not talking to you.
no, I know you're not talking to me.
talking to
I know. I do see like I'm happy it worked out for you.
Yeah.
and I'm happy that you were
in
able.
hindsight, it's easier to say that.
That's what I mean. Yeah, like I'm sure in the moment you were probably stressed, like Martin said, and it's harder to see that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is a good reminder that like sometimes when you're afraid, you do feel like that initial reaction, like, oh, I should just be happy about this. But in the long run, like what you're saying is make sure it aligns with your plans for yourself.
Totally. And I wasn't in any position of like, I just want to make sure I emphasize this. I was not in any position of I have a really cushy savings. Like if I don't get a job, I'm totally fine. Like I was not going to be fine if I didn't have a job for months on end.
So when did you have, like in terms of the layoff period, the 5 weeks, when did you have the interview with the current job you have now? And when did you get the offer and when did you start working?
The current job I have now is a super serendipitous thing. And this is why you should tell all your friends.
Let it be known. Like, don't be,
Let
I
it be
guess,
known.
don't be embarrassed about
Don't.
advertising that you are looking for opportunities.
Correct. And make sure you put the thing on LinkedIn, like open to work, like all that stuff. So
Smart.
recruiters reach out to you because I did get a few interviews from recruiters reaching out to me.
Great.
But I ended up at the 4-week mark seeing a role open at this company that I have worked with my entire career because it's kind of in the industry.
And this is getting to the tail end. I'm like, oh my God, week 4. Ah.
Week 4. And she's still not super stressed.
I know. I'm like, I thought you were going to be like week 2. And you're like, no, week 4.
No, week 4, I had 4 interviews lined up. So I think I was more like, okay, things are happening.
One of them.
One of them has to work out, right?
Yeah.
The odds are in my favor. But I saw the role. I applied on LinkedIn. Literally, I was on LinkedIn so much that I knew when a new job was posted.
Amazing.
Like I was like, never seen this one. And I would go to it and be like, 5 minutes ago, just posted. So I was like on it so much that anytime something was uploaded, I was like the first one on the job posting.
And what were you doing with your cover letter? Like you guys know, I hate writing a cover letter.
A cover letter. I only do cover letters for jobs I really want.
Okay.
So if it's a company that has everything, checks all the boxes, I will sit there and I will write a cover letter.
Because I've heard, not that like I'm actively applying or anything, but like I've heard that cover letters are very important in the application process.
Some companies don't ask for them.
I know, but I think they still do. Like it's,
I don't like them.
I
don't like them.
I think I talked about this on the episode with Julia. I hate cover letters.
Who likes, does anyone like cover letters?
I don't know.
I hate cover letters.
Can I
hate
just
cover
send them a
letter.
voice memo? I'm going to be like, hey, like I'm going to start sending videos to people.
That's a good idea.
I mean, yeah.
Instead of a cover letter, like a video cover.
Yeah.
Hey guys, it's Tori.
And Chanel.
No, I wouldn't be on your video cover. That would just be you. You're so used to being like, and Chanel.
Can you imagine if it was like a dating profile? Like for, you know how they do like the casting applications?
Yeah.
If you applied to a job like that, I'm like, this is why I should hire my best friend, Chanel.
That's so cute.
She's beautiful.
She's great to work with.
She's super detail oriented, and you'll be like moving a placemat and be like, dink.
I would love that.
I know, it'd be really fun.
That's so cute. What were we talking about?
I think I should tell LinkedIn that. I'm like, you guys need to start doing video applications.
Yeah, seriously. Oh yeah, so it was week 4. I reached out, I applied, and I got a email from my now boss, and she was like, "Hey, I saw you like applied online." She had probably written me an email 2 days after I applied or something, and the reason was because our friend Amanda got drinks with the SVP of that company. And the SVP told her, "Oh, the events team is struggling. Like they just lost 2 people." And Amanda was like, "What?"
Wow.
She was like, "Wait a minute." She's like, "I have a girl who's like amazing at events. Like she just got let go. Like she's in the industry. Like she would love to work there."
Timing meant to be.
She had no idea that I applied.
Wow.
I know. So my boss reached out, and my now boss, who was my hiring person, and she was like, "I heard some rave reviews from you from our SVP and Amanda, who's like a partner of ours, and I saw you applied like 5 minutes later, so would love to have an interview with you." And then, so
Which just makes me wonder what's happening between LinkedIn, HR, and hiring managers. I'm just going to say it.
what do you mean?
Like if you had applied and you're a perfect candidate for this role,
Yeah,
Amanda hadn't gone out to drinks with these people.
Yeah.
What's happening there?
I don't know. I mean, she did say she saw I applied.
I know, but after Amanda had.
Right. No, I think she said it was both things.
Oh,
yeah. She
okay.
was like, "I saw you applied, and also
Got it.
bonus for you. Your friend raved about you."
Okay, I see.
So I had the interview, got an offer letter probably the next day or the day after, negotiated my salary,
Wow.
got the ask that I wanted. Literally started 3 days later, I think.
Wow.
It all happened within a week. So literally when my severance pay ended is when I started my new job, which was insane. And
I'm just saying, wow. I
know.
This is.
it was a weird thing. And my recommendation, she didn't need to call anyone because Amanda was one. And then the old president of my company was the new chairwoman of this current company. So she emailed her. She was like, "Oh, yeah, she's great. She's a go-getter." Hired.
Wow.
And that was it.
Wow.
Yeah. It was a very serendipitous thing. And
Silver linings.
sometimes it's literally silence. For 2 weeks, I had silence. And I think that was a point when I was getting stressed because I was like, "Oh my God, like I'm not hearing back. I'm not getting any interviews." And then all of a sudden, at week 4, I had 4 interviews. And then literally 2 months later, I was getting emails from companies that I had applied to. They were like, "We'd love to have you for an interview." And I was like, "I already have a job. You're great. Thank you for getting back to me."
But, I think I'm really happy that you're sharing this with us and you feel comfortable taking the time to talk about this on the podcast because it's a difficult thing. And I think hearing your story and hearing how it all worked out, and I know not everyone's situation is the same and not everyone has the same layoff story, but hearing your process, hearing that it takes time, that how you approached it and got a new opportunity that you're happy with is great.
Yeah, thank you.
know?
And I've had a few friends get let go since, and I've pretty much given the same advice to them, like try and enjoy your time off. I know it's going to be really hard. Make sure you're spending a lot of time looking for jobs, like every single day that you can. Make sure you're doing activities outside of that. Like make sure you're working out or going for walks or going to the park, whatever it is, getting ice cream. Like make sure you're feeding your mental health because you need to make sure that that's number one above all.
Don't spiral.
You can go into like a really dark place if you really think about like the reality of it.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Imagine having a family.
Yeah, I can't. No, that would be. I mean, it's me. Like,
Yeah.
it's just me. So, and I knew I had Martin, and I just tried to stay positive and tried to keep my mind on like positivity because
Because you're Chanel.
you also want to like attract that.
Yeah.
You don't want to go on an interview and be like desperate.
Yeah.
So I think it's just important to remember those things.
And I really like your advice about not shying away from telling people. I think that's really important with anything you do. If you're looking for support, if you're looking for help, if you need people more involved, you're not alone.
Yeah.
We talk about this a lot in different areas. So even whether you're looking for a new job, got laid off from a job, there's people out there to help you.
Yeah, definitely have a network because I think that's really important.
Also, different ways for you. Say you didn't get a job in the 5 weeks, some other ideas, part-time work. Go see what you can do part-time.
I did. Yes, I think that's a good point. I did think about that.
I know there's different things. My brother's fiance took time off to go back to school, and she does rover and dog walking and like other fun things to fill her time and make some extra money. So, while you might not be getting health insurance, you could make some extra cash. You know how I talk about side hustles?
Yeah. No, I think that's a really good point. I did touch on that, but I think that is important. It's like, what's plan B if plan A doesn't work out in the time allotted to me? What am I going to do?
Did you have a plan B?
I was going to bartend.
Oh,
Yeah.
have you bartended before?
I did in college like twice, like 2 nights. Me and my friend, like, I don't even know how they hired us, but we were like, yeah, we can bartend. And then we were like, what do we do? We were like behind them, we were like, what do we do? But I went to bartending school after I finished college.
Oh, okay.
And I planned to do it, but I never ended up doing it. But I was like, I can figure that out if needed, right?
We can do a bartending event
What?
like us. Let's do a bartending thing.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of fun things for us to
Okay.
do, for you to use that skill.
Yeah.
All right.
So I think that's a really good point. So
Yeah,
thanks for mentioning that. Anything else?
Plan Bs. Just make sure.
Any advice from you from like what you've seen of people getting let go?
I think just empathy
Yeah.
and understanding. My natural instinct is to make sure people emotionally are okay,
Yeah.
seeing how they are, pushing them to do podcasts. I'm just kidding. Being a supportive person for them, knowing, if having gone through this with people, just checking in, are you okay? What can I do for you? Pushing people along. I'm a pusher. I like to help people.
You're a pusher.
I'm a pusher. I like to help. So I think if you know someone that's going through it, make sure that your friend's okay, be supportive, and network for them too. If you know that someone would be good for a job, I think I sent you some when you were laid off and like, hey, you'd be a good candidate for this. So I think, looking out, if you know someone's going through this, look out for them when you're, posting on LinkedIn about whatever you're doing.
Yes. I think that's a good point.
Yeah.
I had a few friends like sending me job listings and stuff, and just if they came across it. So I thought that was really nice.
I do have a funny story about being laid off.
How funny is this?
It's about my mom.
Oh my gosh. What?
So my mom had just gotten married. She worked in retail.
Yeah.
And she got married. She was like on cloud nine. She just went on her honeymoon. She comes back from her honeymoon and they're like pulling her into the office. And she's like, oh, whatever. They're talking and they're like, okay, so we have to let you go. And she's like, ha ha, so funny. Like, good one. I just got back I'm just married and back from my honeymoon. You guys are funny for pulling a joke on me. Like, no, really. We're letting you go. And then she just started bawling. And she was like, oh my God, what am I going to do?
Oh
And
no.
Yeah.
What did she do?
I don't remember. I wasn't there.
I know, but
I wasn't born yet.
You know the story.
I think she took some time, eventually found a different job. She's going to be like outstanding item for next week. She took some time off, and then I think she started working from home or something.
The timing couldn't have been worse.
I know.
My goodness. She's like literally on a high. And
She's like, all right, honeymoon
Smack you right
period
down.
over.
damn, that is rough.
Yeah.
Was it a company layoff as well?
I don't know. Mom,
Okay.
When you
I
listen
have
to
a lot of
this.
questions that
outstanding item.
that's funny.
Yeah, I think it might have been. I think it was. They were like changing departments.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, that's terrible.
I know.
Yeah, it's never a good feeling. No matter if you like the job, you don't like the job. Like it's always sad. It's always a little
Sucks.
embarrassing. It's always like not a good feeling. You feel rejected. But I think, just remember to stay positive and work on your mental health above all.
Silver lining. It'll work out how it's supposed to. We're not just our jobs.
Yep.
We have other things going for us.
Yep.
And when there's a will, there's a way. All right, Chanel. Well, thanks again for sharing your story. I'm so glad we talked about it.
Thank you. I'm glad we talked. Thank you for giving me the space to talk about it. I haven't said this whole story in so long.
I know.
It's crazy to think back about it.
And I think it's really going to help people.
I hope so.
I hope people find something in this episode that helps them.
I hope so too.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So, you can listen to us and follow us at Glad We Talk Podcast on Instagram, TikTok, and eventually we'll get some YouTube stuff going up there. You can email us at gladwetalkpodcast@gmail.com.
And what's my thing? Oh, rate and review us.
Yes.
I'm like, what's my part? Rate and review us wherever you listen to podcasts, and 5 stars because you love us so much. And that's that on that.
That's that on that. I love when you end the episode like that. Makes me
That's
happy.
my thing.
All right, Chanel.
Okay.
Well,
Bye, friends.
Goodbye, friends.
Glad we talked.
Glad we talked.